Did Canon do enough with the C400? Did you watch the video?
I watched it and I was happy.
That's good.
Yeah, I was happy about what they did, and the price point. I think it was right on. The tech that they're throwing into it, I think, is cool. And if you notice how like Canon rocks, right? I mean, actually, if you did notice how Canon rocks, they don't have a pattern like Sony or Fuji. So they've been kind of like dead for a while as far as like the big C series cameras is concerned.
Absolutely.
But I think that this is a nice intro to getting back into that space. Adding a in between 300 and 500, 400 camera, I think was pretty smart. There's a couple things I didn't like about it. I didn't like the fact that they didn't introduce a DGO sensor or a second version of a DGO sensor.
That was very interesting.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
It feels like in the C300 and the C70, the DGO sensor was such a hit.
Yeah.
That it does make you wonder why not reintroduce it. I wonder if it had anything to do with, they do say though, it has, now to be fair, CVP, I can't remember what they said. I think they said the DGO sensor has more dynamic range, but Canon saying that this is the most dynamic range in their their cinema line ever. And so it'll be interesting once Jarrell, once you get it, and we'll see what you have to say.
Yeah.
Because I also know that people sometimes when they're testing for dynamic range, we don't care about your purported dynamic range. We care about your usable dynamic range. I don't care if you say you got 20 stops because we can see a little twinkle in the corner.
Yeah.
We want what we can actually use.
Yeah.
So I wonder if Canon's saying this is the most and CVP is actually saying, this is what's actually usable, in a Canon camera, for the DGO. But anyways, yeah.
And plus they introduced like the triple base ISO.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe that has something to do with it too. I don't know, but that was just something. I made a little check on my thing, like, But other than that, I think it's a pretty cool camera. I think it's a great documentary camera.
Yeah.
And that's my space.
Uh-huh.
So, it got on the list of potential things. But
so what you're saying, like high 8 or 9?
Buyable? Not now.
Yeah. But next?
Could be.
It's
on the list. But if they end up dropping like a whole full frame C70 style camera, I'm gonna be pissed.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't make a move yet.
Yeah. And it's interesting. So we'll talk about that in a little bit, but I actually don't feel like the C70 can go full frame because of the C400. Because the C70, when it came out, 6,500. Do you remember what you paid for it? Like 6,000?
Well, I paid less because I bought it off of Brandon.
Oh, that's dope. Okay. No, that's smart.
Yeah.
Marcus just put you onto some game.
Yeah.
Buy used, especially if you're buying from a person that takes care of their stuff.
Yes.
Because you're not going to pay full price. But yeah, I feel like...
But it was 5,500 at the time.
Yeah. So I feel like those price points are too close that if they do a full frame C70, they're going to kill the C400. They're going to kill it. Now, to be fair, if they don't put SDI on it or they don't, do the triple base ISO, then maybe people will jump up to the next one. But I feel like if they've got similar features to the C400, ain't nobody buying the C4. I'm already worried about the C4.
Well, broadcast people will still buy.
Yes, they will still buy. Yes. That's fair.
Because I think that's where that camera is actually made for the broadcast level first.
Absolutely.
Then like doc, and then maybe feature narrative type stuff. But I think the broadcast community will still stick with that camera.
For sure. I feel like with Red did this with the Komodo, I feel like camera brands have their intention. We want this for broadcast.
Yeah.
Like for the Komodo, the original Komodo, it's like, we want this for crash cam. But what people actually use it for
is different.
Is different. And so I feel like the interesting part is people are always, and when I say people, I'm talking about me and maybe other people, will literally try to get the best that they can with the money that they have, even if it wasn't necessarily intended for that purpose, and try to stretch it as much as they can. So anyways, I'm my thoughts on the C400. I think that the C400 was exciting for similar reasons that I feel like I'm excited that they're reviving the cinema line.
Yeah.
I think that that's like really dope. I think that them continuing to pull ahead of the game with autofocus is incredible.
Yep.
I think the reason why people went to Sony was for ISO, their sensitivity. So I think that the better it becomes at low light, I think that's dope. I think the moving up to 6K is incredible because the C70 is a little soft.
Definitely soft. And I don't know. And when I say that, I don't want clinically sharp like digital. Yeah.
We don't want that because people be putting ProMIS
image. Yeah.
But the C70 is a little softer than that.
It is. And I can say it because I've owned a camera for like 2 years. So
and I still have it. I still shoot on it all the time. And to be fair, I still love the camera.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But I'm excited about the 6K. That triple base ISO looks really dope. What else? Not excited about their PL to RF adapter. That's $1,600. But
bananas.
I don't own any PL glass, so
I do, and the DJO makes one, or DZO makes one for less than $300.
Yeah,
that works.
Yeah,
really good.
Kind of a fail. Hopefully, they don't do anything to like make it not work the way that it's supposed to work. Hopefully, they leave it alone. But time code, Genlock, all that sort of stuff. It seems like I'm excited for the camera potentially as a future owner of it, because I can kind of see that as being an A cam and my C70 being a B cam. But I am so excited for what Canon has next. And so I am if I had to be honest, I'm probably a 4 or 5 maybe when it comes to 0, not buying it, 10, buying it today. I'm probably like middle of the road because I want to see what's coming out.
Yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't it drops in September. I would definitely wait for industry people to actually have some input about it. And one of the biggest things Canon was doing, and prayerfully they're fixed that on the cameras to come, is like their colors were still weird per camera. Mm-hmm. You know, they kind of didn't match. You know, so prayerfully they'll fix that issues. There's a super chat going on that just came through, and it says, "Sorry for the dumb question. This is by Starlight Photos. What does DGO mean?" And what it stands for, dual gain output. So it was their on paper 16 plus stops of dynamic range sensor, and it was introduced through the C300 Mark III and the C70.
Yeah. And chat, you're probably going to correct me. I consider myself somewhat nerdy when it comes to camera stuff, but you might be able to explain it better. So what I can tell is they have a sensitivity for the highlights. They have a sensitivity for the shadows. And when they literally put those things together, you get a few extra stops of dynamic range, where you shouldn't be able to get that much just having, you know, maybe just sensitivity on the highlights or just sensitivity on the shadows. You're able to kind of put those two images together and just get a little bit more dynamic range out of your camera. Yep. And so that's what I understand from the DGO sensor. Marcus, you want to add anything?
Nope. You said it perfectly.
Hopefully I said it perfectly.
Down there.
Tell me, chat. Oh my goodness. I just saw a comment. I thought this video was about the GH7. Jarrell can't help himself. I can't help myself.
It's on the list.
I'm excited for the GH7. We talked about it.
You jumped in late.
Did you come in late?
Yeah, we talked about the GH7.
To be fair, I will say 100%. I would agree with you guys in the chat. I do not think that these cameras are in competition to one another, but I do think that there is something about winning the hearts and minds of the people. And if you're hot right now, people start dreaming. And if people start dreaming, they may literally begin to neglect stuff. So for instance, like if I started dreaming about all the stuff that Canon's coming out, I'm not looking at the GH7. But if you start dreaming about the GH7, you might be looking down the line to the other Panasonic cameras. And so while these two cameras might not actually be in competition with one another, if Panasonic wins your heart, if Canon wins your heart, if Sony wins your heart, they might actually win they might actually win the war. And so while I don't feel like they're in direct competition, I do think that all of these brands are trying to win your loyalty, like trying to catch you.
Yeah, and trying to drain every freaking dollar out of your children's college fund. It's
Which is why you should go to Canon, because they only drop cameras every 5 years. They save you.
Yeah, they save you because you'll never have to worry about it. That C400 is going to be a camera that's bought up by the production houses because it's going to be a rentable camera for anyone that wants to shoot doc. They're going, or if they're even tired of the FX6,
yeah,
this is a new camera that they can actually try out
for sure. Yeah, going into the comments, I'm going to bring this up, even though you might be talking about me. I don't know. Cameras are just tools. There is no one tool that fits all, and the fanboyism only lines the company's pockets. Just shoot with what inspires you, everyone. I agree with you. I just love dabbling on both sides. To be 100% honest, I owned like my DSLRs for like 5 years before I upgraded to mirrorless. Part of that was like economics. Like I ain't got the money to upgrade to any of the mirrorless stuff, even though I knew the R5 was hot, even though I knew the C70 was incredible.
Literally.
I was like, I just don't have the money. But as much as I love the tool, I also love the craft of filmmaking. I just like both. And so even though I feel like you're throwing a little bit of shade my way, Luke, I'm still here with you.
I see that a couple of people got my joke.
What's that?
When you had mentioned that when the R5 came out, it was hot. And I said, yeah, literally.